Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unlock Show. I'm Tracy Wilson. I'm going to be your host for the next 30 minutes. Probably we might make it to 30 minutes today. I've got a couple of things that I want to talk to you guys about. We have literally just finished every Friday for the last, I think it was 5 Fridays, I was doing the series called The Authentic Brand Effect, and that went really, really well. I've got loads and loads of you guys going to the website right now and downloading it and watching that entire series, which is available for you. And I will make sure that I actually put that inside of today's comments so that you can go there. And if you haven't already registered for it, you can go there and you can binge out on all 5 of those videos. But for those of you who have joined me today, you will know that if you came on Wednesday, you'll know that I'm traveling right now. So I'm kind of precariously set up here inside of, my hotel room with my microphone kind of perched up on my knee and the camera and everything perched up on several different books that I've been able to find that you just make work, right? You just make a studio work when you are on the road. So let's hope that I don't, knock things over and you guys end up on the floor or I end up on the floor. That could be a little bit of a funny show. But am I streaming okay? Yes, it's back. Beautiful. Well, hey, let's start that again. That's one of the things that happens when you're on the road and you're traveling, right? And you're doing this stuff all live. What do? Well, you take 2 sets of headsets. I had my microphone and everything all set up here. But like I was telling you guys, when you couldn't hear a flaming word I was saying that I'm traveling right now, that I am precariously kind of set up in a hotel room with my camera and everything on top of books, with my microphone and all the regular things that I don't all my niceties of home in my home studio, I just don't have with me. So we just roll with the punches. So that is perfectly in alignment with what I'm talking about today. In fact, that whole scenario there, I probably could not have scripted any better, because what I'm going to talk about today is the one thing that is probably the most important thing, or the biggest obstacle that you are going to face as an entrepreneur. And what just happened there would probably freak a lot of people out, and they would be like, oh my God, what do I got to do? In panic mode. But you don't panic, you just get on with it. You have a separate set of headsets ready to go, or you push some buttons and you just test and make sure that it's working. So now that you guys can actually hear me and you can see me okay, I will try my best not to knock all of this stuff over, because if I took it, and I'll take a picture of the setup after the show and I'll show you what I'm dealing with today so you can have a bit of a giggle. But anyway, topic of today, I was saying that over the last 5 episodes on a Friday, I completed a series called The Authentic Brand Effect. And right now that entire 5 series is available on a website for you guys to download. So if you did not tune in over the last 5 Fridays and you watched each of those, then I would highly recommend that you click the link that I'll get one of the team to put into the chat today, so that you guys can actually go there and you can binge watch it over the weekend, because you've got nothing better to do. You can listen to me all weekend now with the 5 episodes. And then next week, I will be back. Vicky Helm and I have got something really special that we're going to be bringing to the table for you guys next week. And we want to make sure that, you've gone through that process, you understand what it is that we're talking about in terms of building your own authentic brand effect, and why it's so important for you to do that, and the impact that you can make for yourself, so you can come out from, being an unknown expert to being a really sought after authority in your particular niche. So if that's something that you want to do, you're ready for that, go and watch that series of masterclasses. And then keep your eyes peeled inside of the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group. And we'll make sure that we let you know when the next episode is actually available in that series. We're actually going to be moving on to a series that we call Impact and Authority and Influence. So how to really take and make an impact with what it is that you are, what you're passionate about. So let's get stuck in today. Now that I've kind of done all of that precursor, today, biggest obstacle that you're going to face as an entrepreneur. And like I said, most people are going to think, Trace, I know what that is. I know you're going to be talking about fear. And yes, that is a small part of it, but it's actually way, way bigger than that. And this is something that I can talk about, and I think most of you guys will resonate with this, because I've been there. I've beaten myself up so many times for for not doing some of the stuff that I really, really was passionate about, and the things that, I need to, I want to share with you guys so that you can avoid them and you can actually move forward and avoid this biggest obstacle that you are going to face. And whether it's for entrepreneurship or in your life in general, this will be something that will either propel you forward or it is going to have you absolutely stopped in your tracks and you will be paralyzed. So, and it's bigger than, like a lot of people will also think that the thing that is going to stop you or prevent you and cause you some trouble is the negative Nancy's, the trolls and the naysayers. And what I'm going to say is that, yes, all of that is true, but you can actually prevent them from having as big an impact on you if you do these few things that I want to talk about today. The biggest obstacle I think that we face as entrepreneurs is the fact that we are our own biggest troll, our own biggest negative Nancy, and the person that prevents us from moving forward is actually ourselves. So when you lift up a mirror and you start looking at yourself and you start thinking about, man, I want to, what are all the things, think about all the things that you wanted to do in the past that have actually prevented you from moving forward. And I probably would say that in most cases, if you were to look at that, you would go, well, actually, it was probably me that prevented myself from moving forward. So whether it was my fear, whether it was, my procrastination, whether it was me getting stuck in, into shiny object syndrome and going down rabbit holes elsewhere, whether it was my lack of organization, etc., whatever it was, all of those things lead back to one thing. And that one thing and that one person is you or me in this case. So when I'm talking about a lot of this stuff, I'm talking from experience. I'm turning the mirror and having a look at the things that I did and what was it that's really given me the confidence and the impact that I had been searching for such a long time. What did I actually need to do to enable myself to move forward? And I'll be honest with you that it's really taken me, in this last 12 months or so, 12 to 18 months, where I've really felt like I've come into my own. So there's been a few specific things that have happened that I want to really share with you so that you can expedite your process. So if you are sitting in the space of, not getting where you want to be, reflecting on, man, I should have been there. I should be way further along than where I am. What the heck is wrong with me? You're having all of these negative thoughts. Then some of the things I'm going to talk about today in terms of particular actions that you can do that will help you move forward. There were a couple of realizations that I had. And the first realization is that you must surround yourself with good people. You must find yourself a tribe of people who are on your side, who you can confide in, who you can, have really good, robust conversations with. Not necessarily that all think the same way as you do, so that they're all, patting you on the back and beefing you up, but so that you can have a really solid conversation with them about whatever's going on, that they understand where you're coming from, and they can also be your champions when you need them to be. So that would be my advice. Number one is find yourself a group of people that sing from the same hymn sheet, so to speak, or the same hymn book, and that can really support you on your journey. The second is making sure that you spend some time on yourself. This is probably the biggest thing that you need to do, is really start looking inward, start focusing on yourself, start working on your inner game. Lots of people think that if I can't continue to work on my actions and my tactics and I'm working on all of this outer stuff, that eventually, I will get there. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that if you do it the other way around, if you start working on yourself internally, who do you want to be? What are you about? What do you believe in? etc., working on how you feel about your confidence, you will have much, much better results moving forward when you start to put the actions and the tactics and the strategies that you learn into place. I don't know how many groups I've been inside of where we've all been given, loads of people have been given the same strategy, the same tactics, etc., but only a few of them actually make a real difference. If only a few of them take those strategies, take those tactics, and the things that they learn and actually actually implement them to the point where they have success. There's one thing that makes a massive difference, and it's the way in which they think about themselves. It is your own self. I suppose what you think of yourself, your own your perception of yourself, and your internal identity. So if your identity is, if you think internally that, hey, I would really love to be a millionaire, but somewhere inside of you, you think, oh, that would be really nice, but I'm not sure that could be me, I'm not sure that I could be that person, then that is going to hold you back. You are never ever going to get there unless you work on your own self identity and your own self, inner game. Perception of yourself is everything. It doesn't matter what people on the outside think of you, even if they're telling you how wonderful you are. If you do not believe that, and you do not think that you have what it takes, and you do not, then become that person, be all of the things that you need to be, to have all of the things and do all the things that you want to do, you will never ever get there. So make sure that you really do spend some time focusing on, who am I? What am I? What do I want to be? What do I perceive myself as? What is my deep-seated identity? At my core, do I see myself as a successful, rich, wealthy, kind person? Do you see that? And if you do see that, then that's fantastic. When you're going to put all of the actions and the strategies into place, you're probably going to find that a lot easier. If you do not see that, then the very first place you need to start is with your internal game. Because if you think about it, and this is a saying, and I think somebody on my show a few weeks ago, Catherine and Michael, when they were on, they were talking about how they were talking about this from a leadership point of view. But if you think about, you are your own leader. You are your own leader. So you need to make sure that when you're leading yourself, that you are casting a really big shadow. The only way you can do that is by casting it from the inside. You must work on that, that internal game, because you're never ever going to outgrow the perception that you have of yourself, regardless of what other people tell you. You will keep, retreating back to that fail-safe point where you feel as though, I'm safe here, I'm comfortable here, I'm not outside of my comfort zone. Your internal game will continue to try and pull you back to that level. So really, really important that you work on that. I was talking with, so I'm staying with some people at the moment, and they're also business owners. And I was saying to them, they were asking me, hey, Trace, what's the topic of your show going to be today? And I said to them, well, it's going to be the biggest obstacle that you will face as an entrepreneur and what you need to do about it. And he was like, oh, I think I know what that is. And he said, it's your own internal fear. But more so, he was talking about, it's the fear of failure, and it's the fear of financial failure. So all of these things kind of, layer on top of one another if you do not get your inner game right. So I've just made a few little notes down here as to some of the things that I think you can do that were really going to help you to improve that. One, which I've already talked about, which was having that support network, joining a Facebook group, joining a mastermind, getting a group of friends around you, building out your support network or your cheerleader, your cheer team, reading, making sure that you take some time to read. Meditate. So even if you just take some moments, and it's not doing the, sitting there, doing the whole meditation like so with legs crossed and what have you. It's actually just stopping, taking some time for yourself, reflecting, and trying to just clear your thoughts, trying to just get yourself into some sort of flow. When I started doing this, that really did just help to, you just start to find that you calm down, that you start really, breathing into what it is that you're wanting in your life. You're starting to really dream a lot bigger. You're starting to fantasize about what it is that you want in your life, and you then can start seeing yourself in that situation. I started doing this process called like your we called it like creating your own workshop. It's like the workshop of the mind. So you would go into your own workshop in your mind and you would start creating all the things that you wanted. You do this day after day after day, and before long the things that you see in your mind are the things that you start talking about. You start being the person that you need to be to have the things that you want, to do the things that you want to do. All of that starts to come to fruition. And I can tell you, if you're into like manifestation, you end up manifesting exactly what it is that you want, because you start to visualize it in your mind. You live it out in your mind, then you will start to live it out in your everyday. The next thing that I've said is working on that inner game of yours. So whatever it is that you do, whether it's meditation, whether you're going to go down the path of tapping, keeping yourself accountable or tapping. So I'm just going to come back to that. So another technique that one of the a really influential person inside of our group, Brad Yates, his name, he does a process called EFT tapping, and it really does help people to move through their fear, to balance your energy, to help you to get rid of any obstacles, fears that you might be experiencing, and allowing you to move forward in a way that is in flow. Is really what that's all about. So I really wanted to talk about this today because it is super important. The other thing that I would say, this is just another very practical tip for you to do. Quite often, particularly when you're in entrepreneurship, we are required to be in social media, in the face of social media. So whether it be doing a show like this or whether you're posting on social media, it's kind of, the days are gone where you could get away from doing that, where you didn't have to do it, where you could rely on word of mouth and the people walking, past your store. We don't have the luxury of just relying on that in its, just on its own anymore. We have to embrace technology. With that, when you're doing these sorts of things, when you're online constantly, it's very easy to start going down, the social media rabbit hole where you start looking at everybody else's stuff. What then happens is you start looking at everybody else's stuff and you start thinking to yourself, wow, I need to be as good as them. I need to be able to do my videos that well. I need to be able to speak as well as she does, blah, blah, blah. And that, again, just perpetuates that negative self-talk that we are trying to avoid. The way that you can get around that so that you can still maintain your presence on social media is you want to move from being a consumer of social media content to being a creator of social media content. So you might pick a few people that you follow on a constant basis. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to end up going down the rabbit hole. And then you also want to start stepping up and start taking a stand for something, start talking about it, and become the creator. As soon as you start to put yourself in the shoes of being the creator, all of a sudden the fear will start to dissipate. You will start to become more confident. You will start to have, be more competent in what you are talking about. And on the fly, you'll be able to start to talk about all sorts of different things because you've gained the level of confidence that you need. And then before long, the negative thoughts that you used to have will no longer be there. Why? Because now you're occupied with trying to think about, well, what can I talk about? What value can I bring to my audience? How do I make sure that I show up? How do I make sure that I'm being really authentic with what I'm talking about? So all of a sudden, the space that you had that allowed your mind to wander, that allowed the negativity and the negative thoughts to start happening in your mind, is being replaced by more positive things, by more action-oriented, by being more of who you need to be in terms of showing up and doing the things that you need to do. So switch from being a content consumer to being a content creator. So I do want to say that being a content consumer, there isn't anything wrong with that, as long as you are listening to what people are talking about and you then immediately go away and you start implementing it. It becomes a problem when all you're doing is listening, and not actually doing anything with the information that you are listening to or learning about. Massive change there. That you need to make sure that you are doing so that you're not just listening to various different things just for the sake of it. So let me just wrap up today. So the biggest thing, the biggest obstacle that you are going to need to overcome is yourself. It is your inner game. And it's not necessarily even your inner self-talk. It is your inner identity. It's your values, aligning those things up, being sure that you are, you're stepping forward and you're taking a stand for the things that you really believe in, and then embodying all of that, seeing yourself as that person, being that person. Because as soon as you start doing that, believe me, the negative thoughts will go away. You will start to get momentum. Things will start to move in the right direction. So I'm going to depart you guys today with just another reminder for you guys to go and watch the Authentic Brand Effect. The entire series is now available. We will make sure that that is put into the comment section for you guys to go and get yourself on today. And make sure that you go through that, because I want to create a movement where people are ready to stand up and stand for something. But you must make sure that you work on your inner game so that you are ready to do it. I was on a call with a bunch of other people on Sunday night, where they'd asked me to come and do a talk, and afterwards they actually asked me this: what is the number one thing that is holding you back? Hence the reason that I thought I would do it on the show today. And they were all about wanting to get up there and make sure that they spread the word about what it is that they believe in. And I want to make sure that everybody that follows me also has the opportunity, also believes in themselves that much, that they have such a great message that they are ready to stand up and talk about it. So let's create a movement of awesome people that are ready to stand up, take a stand, speak about what it is that you are passionate about, and let's go and make some difference in the world. So that being said, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my weekend. I'm in Ely Beach right now. I'm going to head up to Townsville this afternoon and spend some time with a very good friend of mine who's turning 50 this weekend. So it's going to be a bit of fun. Haven't caught up with them for ages because we've been in lockdown and we haven't been able to travel. So I'm about to have some, really good, surrounded by some really cool friends, and have a great time over the weekend. So I hope that you guys do too. And I'll be back again with another episode of Unlocked next Wednesday. Thanks so much for persevering with me today whilst I'm on the road. We had no audio for a little while, but you just roll with the punches and do what you got to do, because, that's just life, right? So have a fantastic weekend, and thanks for joining me on the Unlock Show. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.